Great. Well, welcome everyone. Let me just put up the slide deck. And I am going to put it on slideshow, and Scarlett has agreed to watch the chat. But please, you're always welcome to put questions in the chat. And then if we can answer them during the meeting, great. And if not, we'll try to answer them after the meeting. So we're happy that first timers are here as well as old comers. And as you can see, we have quite an agenda today. So we're going to start off with federal impacts on cultural resources. Then we will be talking about some focus groups that have been conducted with students. Next, a client-based class project, our blog, some new tools, the webinars we've been offering, and then we have a discussion for you. So we're going to start off with Allison. Allison Brooks works at the Department of Archaeology and Historic Preservation in Washington, in the state of Washington. And she's agreed to help us try to understand what is going on with the federal government. So Allison, what I've done is put your slides into the deck because we have been getting Zoom bombed. And so rather than have that happen, you just tell me next and we'll just keep moving.
Hey, you want me to start?
Yes, please go right ahead.
So next, all right, so we have three big areas that are being impacted: legislation, budget, and policy. Next.
Yep.
All right, so what's at stake? Protecting archaeological sites and TCPs, historic buildings, sacred sites, federal funding to higher education. I think a lot of you realize that. And it's important to remember that 90% of all archaeological work is conducted through cultural resource management. And we're actually starting to see the federal government take back some archaeological contracts. So between the budget, the loss of federal and state staff, and contracts being rolled back, it's a pretty heavy career hit on the field of archaeology. Okay, next. I'm going quickly because I didn't realize I was only supposed to talk for 10 minutes. So the administration proposed zero funding for state and tribal historic preservation offices and zero funding for national heritage areas. Next. And fortunately, the federal House appropriation said, yeah, we're not doing that. So they kept us level funding at 60.1 million for states, level funding 23 million for tribes, tribal preservation offices. But the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation got hammered. They took about a 35-40% cut, and their staff went from 38 people to 18 with only 6 program staff. The rest are an admin assistant or whatever. So the Federal Advisory Council on Historic Preservation took a massive budget hit. And it's similar, it's not only in the presidential budget, but a massive budget hit in the House. And just so you know, the Senate is supposed to come out with their budget at any moment. I was hoping it would be here this morning, but it wasn't. Next. All right, so here's the House proposal to give you a sense of what Congress is proposing for next year's funding, and because you'll have the slides, you can look at them yourself later. Next. So the big change was the decision on 7-county infrastructure. And for those of you that don't know, 7-county infrastructure was a Supreme Court decision on the National Environmental Policy Act. And the Supreme Court really rolled back how NEPA, as we call it, is administered. And I mean, incredibly rolled back. And that is also going to have a big impact on the workforce, because if you don't have to do NEPA anymore, the multi-billion-dollar environmental business goes away. So what they did, so the regs that are coming out are the guidance. For example, Interior has decided they're not doing NEPA regulations, they're only doing NEPA guidance. What does that mean? And they're making that decision internally. There's no requirement anymore to do an EIS or an EA on a project. That's an internal agency decision whether or not they feel like doing it. The NEPA regs are actually in conflict now with the National Historic Preservation Act. Agriculture tied, every categorical exclusion is now considered no potential to affect historic properties. I don't even think it's legal for them to do that. The Corps and the Department of Defense removed Appendix C and what was called the but-for clause. But-for meant, but for this permit, you had to analyze a whole project area. By removing but-for, now people only have to analyze the tiny, tiny permit area. So if you needed a permit for a big project, you had to do a NEPA review on the project. Now, the Corps and DOD came in and said, no, if your permit's this big, you just have to look at this little area here. That's going to have a massive impact on environmental review. Department of Energy came in and said, you don't even have to do new studies. If you're going to do a NEPA analysis, just use old studies. It's just fine, which conflicts with the National Historic Preservation Act requirement to consult with tribes on properties of religious and cultural significance. So now you have a conflict between NEPA and NHPA. And of course, there's no consideration of climate impacts anymore, and there's no consideration of cumulative impacts. So in terms of, we're talking about careers, in terms of environmental and archaeological careers, we're going to see in the next couple of years what the impact is, and it may be pretty big on the environmental analysis community. Okay, next. So the reconciliation process also proposed changes to the National Environmental Policy Act. Developers can now do their own EIS and EA, and it might not be subject to any administrative or judicial review. The other weird piece about NEPA now is there's no requirement to send the document out to the public for comment. It's just an internal review. Okay, next. Okay, so when state historic preservation offices and tribal historic preservation offices or heritage areas get funding, we have to sign a contract with the Department of Interior to get the money. And the current administration is requiring us to agree to the following. We cannot have a DEI program. We have to comply with all Interior secretarial orders, and we have to follow all the federal executive orders. In some cases for DOT and State Department, military departments, they have to comply with ICE. Obviously for us, we don't have the ICE requirements because we're not doing anything that would require us to run and grab people for, border purposes. But we cannot have a DEI program. We have to comply with the Interior secretarial orders, and we have to agree with all executive orders. We don't think that's actually, I don't know how you would audit that. We kind of look at it and we're like, well, how are you going to make sure that we're doing that, right? It doesn't seem legally viable, but that's what they're requiring. Okay, next. So one of the problems we have is there's what's called a federal energy emergency. And a lot of projects now are considered emergency projects that we never considered emergencies. And when there's an emergency consideration, we get notified and we have 7 days to respond. But the usual work where people went out and did an archaeological survey or historic site study, that's all gone. It's just 7 days and we get to respond to the agency and say, yeah, we think there's something there or not. 8 states sued the Corps of Engineers and the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, saying there never was an emergency. It's all a bunch of crap. And we'll see, it's not scheduled yet in district court. It's scheduled to be heard in district court in Washington, but they haven't actually put that court case on the schedule yet. But it's basically 8 states, and you can imagine blue states, suing the administration saying, you're making emergencies that aren't emergencies. That's not what emergencies were for. Okay, next slide. Okay, so the one big beautiful bill, it does not include changes to the National Historic Preservation Act. We thought that might happen, but it didn't. Phew. It removes the clean and renewable energy tax credits, so that's a big deal for wind and solar. But it did not give us any specifics of the interior budget proposal or the ACHP budget. So again, I'm waiting for the Senate bill to come out today. And I show you the House bill. Okay, next. Okay, so we just talked about the energy emergency agencies. So under that, the following steps don't have to be conducted. And when you look at all those steps, that's where archaeologists and environmental firms make their money, right? Doing these steps. So if you don't have to do them anymore, I don't know what's going to happen to a lot of the cultural resource management firms if the work has just all of a sudden been taken away. Okay, next. All right, that just gives you an example of the lawsuit that was filed, starting from the state of Washington. Okay, next. Okay, so again, here's just something you can read later. These are just statements. Sorry, the litigation against the executive orders.
Mhm.
You can see cultural resources are in there. Something else that we don't really understand is how NAGPRA is going to comply to the emergency orders. So if you don't have to go do a survey and you don't have to go look for archaeological sites, we don't know if now the administration and Congress are just going to override NAGPRA and say, well, if you find human remains, you can just keep going. We haven't heard how the relationship between NAGPRA and the emergency orders are going to go, and no one knows. No one has an answer for this.
Okay.
I mean, really interesting. All right, this is just really quick. I put in, was asked about impacts to Indian country, so I put in just a couple of pictures of where you can find some impacts. Next slide. So the administration really took away a lot of money for the tribes, but it looks like the Senate and House are putting the funds back for environmental purposes, but not fully back. So everyone's taking cuts, but it's not 100% put back. It won't be put back 100%. You'll get whatever, 75 or 60% of last year's funding. Okay, next. All right, the revised NEPA regulations, as I said before, they are really dangerous. It's an internal decision about whether an environmental review is needed. Interior is only issuing a guidance document on how to do NEPA. They're not even going to issue regulations. You no longer necessary to publish documents, and that is a big deal. It means the public doesn't have a role in reviewing environmental documents. And I talked about the but-for issue and the combining NEPA with NHPA, which I don't think is legal. Obviously, climate change and cumulative impacts are gone. And cumulative impacts were always a big deal under the National Environmental Policy Act. And again, all project areas are related to direct impacts. So these changes, again, are really going to affect people's career as you go forward. Okay, next. So job impacts. We expect less cultural resource management work. We're seeing existing contracts canceled. The other thing happening as a side note is we're seeing anthropology departments closed all over the place, right? Anthropology, social sciences, liberal arts is a real target. We're seeing less grant funding for students. Pell Grants are cut back. Everything's cut back. NEPA has changed, so as I keep saying, the environmental community will lose work, and less work for environmental firms. So, environmental work is a multi-billion-dollar business, and I don't know what's going to happen going forward. And certainly, for getting a graduate degree in anthropology/archaeology, the funding is gone. The other piece, of course, that I didn't put in here that I think we're all seeing is universities like the University of Washington is very dependent on international students. And of course, this administration is making it very difficult for international students to come into the US.
Yeah.
I think you have to open up your entire social media profile and your social media accounts to be reviewed by who's ever issuing your visa. Of course, in my case, if somebody said, I want to see all your social media, I'd be like, dog, 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 photo of dog, another photo of dog, here's my dog again. But for a lot of people, I mean, it's very intrusive and scary. So we're expecting an incredible drop in international students coming into the US. I think you'll find they go to England or Australia or Canada. Next. So what can be done? I'm advocacy. So I always say that archaeologists didn't sign up to be lobbyists, right? I mean, that's not what we went into. Archaeologists went into work with things, not people. But at this point, writing or calling your congressional delegation about what's happening is critical, and it makes a big difference. Also, it's important to talk about archaeology and the importance of archaeology to local politicians and state legislators. Because remember, a lot of these local politicians move into Congress. So if you can catch them early to like historic buildings or archaeology, it's really, really important. And the other thing that we don't do well as a group is we don't do publicly accessible publications. I mean, we don't have them out where people would read them. People will say, oh, I'm going to write my archaeology report, but I'll write it for the general public. Yeah, okay, but where does it get distributed to the general public? It never gets distributed to the general public. So we are very cloistered in our field, and we have to move out of our little cloistered world and into the general public, because I will tell you right now, we are bashed by both Democrats and Republicans. If you watch Governor Andy Beshear of Kentucky, who looks like he wants to be a candidate for president, he publicly called out archaeology in a podcast, saying there was more archaeology being done than, I think it was cleanup of mines. I mean, called us out for stopping projects. So it's not just the Republicans. We don't have a good public relations face at all, and we're seen as holding things up. So we need to change that. Next slide. So the ACRA, the American Cultural Resource Association, and Society for American Archaeology started a History Matters campaign. And the idea is this summer to get local politicians, whether they are congressional staff or local politicians or state staff, out onto archaeological sites to see what we do and to generate goodwill and positive perspective on our careers and what we do and our field. Next. So I ran through that as quickly as possible. So I will open it up for questions, but I will just say it is a really, really hard time right now. From higher education to cultural resource management, we are not in a good place. And so political advocacy is the most important thing you could do.
That was a terrific presentation. Thank you
Oh,
so much. No, it really was. I mean, it was fast, but it was excellent. Melissa, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Allison. That was fantastic. I only practiced archaeology internationally, so please forgive my ignorance about working in the United States. But we always partnered very closely with local museums and other types of historical sites. So, is there any opportunity to your latter point about really getting in front of the public and partnering with, like I just came back from a national park and I was horrified at how little archaeology was represented in the visitor centers. And I know they've taken a hit budget wise too, but I would imagine that they actually care about these issues and might be willing to figure out some sort of way to collaborate.
so they're not going to be helpful because they need their own help at the moment. So Senator Patty Murray this morning, when I got up to watch the 6:30 a.m. hearing, so if I look like this, that she said they've lost 25% of their staff at the National Park Service. So no, you're not going to get anywhere. So again, what you need to do is advocate for the Park Service to have more staff so they can do what you're asking. Also, the secretarial order, and you may not know this, it just came out, encourages the public to let Interior know if they see any negative interpretation. So they have come up with this idea that negative, right, which is we consider just history. If they see anything they consider negative about what they're seeing, they're supposed to notify Interior so they can change the interpretive panel to something positive.
Yeah.
So no negativity, everything is awesome, just so you know. But again, it comes down to advocacy at the congressional level because the Park Service has no money and they've lost an incredible amount of staff. There's not even Senator Patty Murray was complaining that they fired the one janitor they had at one of the national parks. Like there was one guy and they fired him and they let him go. So between retirements and everything else, it's 25% of the Park Service right now. I don't know how they're going to function.
Okay, we have time for one other question. Trent?
Allison, really appreciate it. I'm at a small university with both an anthropology department and an archaeology CRM lab. And I think everything you're saying here helps validate a lot of things that we're feeling already. I'm curious if you're also seeing anything else coming from even the tariff side of things from this administration in affecting construction, and any sort of subsurface projects or anything like that, in addition to all the federal level.
I actually haven't seen that yet, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, thank you.
If there are other questions for Allison, please put them in the chat and we will then send them off to her and you can get an answer. Allison, thank you again for that. That
Thank
was
you
just
for having me.
terrific.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to go back to the slide deck. Let's see. Okay, Megan, you're up.
Hi everyone, my name is Megan O'Brien Renee. I'm going to be talking a little bit about improving the awareness of anthropology on campus. Anthropology departments are really struggling to thrive and even stay open. I'm looking to develop an ACRN tool for anthropology programs to utilize to generate greater interest in studying anthropology. So far, I've conducted 2 Zoom focus groups with undergraduate and graduate students using a semi-structured format. I recorded these sessions and thematically coded the transcripts, and I'll be holding more focus groups following further into my research. A few of the questions that I asked during these focus groups are, what attracted you to anthropology? Think back to any department events you've been to, what made them stand out or feel successful? And if you were the head of an anthropology department, what would you do differently to make the field more appealing, accessible, and easier to envision career paths? Next slide, please. Early exposure and outreach was a key theme, as many students shared that they learned about anthropology after already beginning another academic career path, with this being the case of 5 out of 8. Oh, I'm sorry. I seem to be missing my graph, but there should be a graph right there. 5 out of my 8 participants in the focus groups had this be the case. This can be helped by partnering with high schools to introduce anthropology earlier in students' educational journeys, such as offering high school anthropology electives or having guest speakers share anthropology's relevance, as well as incorporating introductory anthropology courses in general education requirements to ensure all students, regardless of their major, have the chance to experience the discipline. When it comes to equity, access, and representation, students called for specific outreach initiatives to underrepresented student populations, where students may have limited exposure to non-traditional career paths, along with campaigns that highlight how anthropology supports and empowers underserved communities. In order to improve marketing and visibility efforts, students recommended flyers that are tailored to specific majors, such as 5 reasons psychology majors should study anthropology, as well as departments and clubs providing incentives like swag to attend events, and promoting anthropology as a flexible perspective that can be useful in any field or even just a tool for life. Next slide, please. Students shared creative ways to strengthen events and clubs, such as events that welcomed all majors through creating a specifically no pressure atmosphere where prior knowledge about anthropology isn't expected, so students feel welcomed, as well as offering a course where students plan the events for the department to gain experience. Students really emphasize the importance of interdepartmental collaboration to help students in other departments better understand how anthropology can support and enhance their primary field. This can be done through hosting joint events to show shared themes and real-world relevance, and encouraging students to minor in anthropology, which helps foster an academic culture that values anthropology's cross-disciplinary strengths. Students also expressed the need for more focus on applied anthropology and career pathways through emphasis on applied research, as well as courses on real-world application, and providing a diverse range of guest speakers, showing how anthropology is used across different careers. Next slide, please. Mentorship was another major theme where students expressed the need to have a stronger sense of guidance through their academic journey, possibly through initiatives like alumni guest speakers advertised to all departments to show how anthropology complements other fields, graduate student mentorship programs, as well as creating an online platform for graduates to share their research and give undergraduates a resource and possibly inspiration for their own research. All of these themes tie into student confidence and peer promotion. Students share that they struggle with finding confidence in anthropology because they aren't sure how to explain how anthropology applies in the real world, therefore expressing their need for anthropology departments to really focus on developing students' understanding of how anthropology and the versatility it provides can be utilized in diverse careers. This will strengthen their confidence in their skills and encourage them to be ambassadors for anthropology. You might be wondering who should be responsible for taking on all of these initiatives. They can be implemented by creating department committees, anthropology clubs, as well as individual professors and students through small everyday actions. In the end, we really all have the ability to increase anthropology's visibility. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Megan. That was great. Any questions for Megan? Kat. Oh, Kat, you're just clapping. Sorry.
I was just about to think, I'm like, it's more of a statement, but I can just say it anyway. Like, that was a really good presentation, Megan, and it's exciting to hear like all of these possibilities. I'm a independent researcher myself in Canada, but we are developing an anthropology in praxis. Anthropology in praxis is like kind of an upcoming platform that will be all about applied anthropology. But yeah, that's my statement is I think everyone can relate. Like as a student, I didn't know there were opportunities like in tech or in government research, nonprofit research. And I think this is a great approach. And I think just equipping students with that language that kind of keeps anthropology's boots on the ground is a really great way because it's such a like powerful discipline and there's so much theory and it's all so like empowering and heavy, but it's hard to talk to other like normies about it and sound like you have like applied skills that can like carry everywhere. That was like a big problem for me. But yeah, I think it's great. It's great effort.
One of the things Megan didn't mention is that she's running focus groups this month. So if any of you have know students who might be willing to sit in on a focus group on, what is it, July 30th?
I think we filled up all the spots for July 30th,
Okay.
but in the near future, probably a week after that, definitely going to be holding some more focus groups.
Yeah, so please be in touch either with me or Megan directly. I don't know if we put your email, maybe just be in touch with me or put your name in the chat. And because we would like to have maybe a couple more focus groups.
You're looking for Canadian students
We are
too,
looking for
potentially? I
anybody.
can share.
All
I'll share.
students.
I'll see.
Yes,
Yeah.
all students have great ideas based on their own experiences and what they think can really help the department grow.
Yeah, thank you. All right, thanks, Megan.
Thank you.
Go back to sharing here. Next up, Amanda, client-based class project.
Yes, I am happy to share the results of our class project that we did in collaboration with the Anthropology Career Readiness Network. In the spring, I had my applied anthropology class take on a client in the community, which is a model that I've used for this class for some years now. And our community client was a nonprofit, the Northern Appalachian Folk Festival, at a time of transition for this organization, when they were attempting to kind of redefine themselves, understand the legacy that they've had in the community, the impact in the community, and how they might build on that going forward, while also expanding support and sponsorship. So it was a really opportune time for applied anthropology to spring into action. I had 14 students, and the goal was for the students to, in teams, assess the impacts and significance of the folk festival in the local community and more broadly for musicians and artists and actually like the kind of sense of identity that gets cultivated for folks living around here, in terms of being part of the Appalachian region, which is something that's not always talked about. We looked at really interesting literature about arts-based development and the role of music in Appalachian community building and resilience. We talked with musicians, we did some field trips, and we also, then I sent them out in teams. So they designed their own research instruments, and some students did longer form interviews that were video recorded. Others did more intercept interviews downtown in certain places where community members congregate. And ultimately, it led to a video to promote the folk festival. And this video, I can share it with you in just a moment, but we shared it with our client. And as the folk festival is reconstituting right now, there's a new board that's forming. So the video that my students made was part of the very first meeting of this new board to kind of foster conversation about where they want to go heading forward. And I would also note that this has been really useful for the students themselves to put anthropology into practice and then be able to discuss the value of those methods and perspectives with real world examples. And also, we live in a part of the country where there's a lot of outmigration of young people. And this is also a way to connect people, students, to the community and in a way that they can recognize their agency. And I've been really excited to see students maintain those connections since the spring semester ended. One student, I believe, is going to be joining the board of the new folk festival going forward. So that's really exciting. And a few others are doing research projects related to community resilience in our area. Yeah, so I'm happy to share this 5-minute video if y'all have
Yeah, well, let's see it. Let me just get it going here. Oh no, come on. That is not what I want. Shoot, it's forcing me to see if I can.
Should I send the link out or what would be useful?
Yeah, maybe because it's getting mixed up with one of my work accounts. So
I've got it. So it's on our IUP YouTube channel now.
okay.
I just sent a link in the chat if that's
Okay. All right. Do you think we could play it from the chat?
I'm not entirely sure.
All right, I'm going to try it. See if this works. Oh, look at this.
Every year, a folk festival takes place in Indiana, Pennsylvania, that reflects the beautiful community that lives there. At this festival, the community comes together to enjoy the local food, music, crafts, and culture.
I can't actually see it though.
Folk
You
festival,
can't see it?
the community can enjoy the talents of their neighbors and create memories that last for.
Sorry, you can't see it?
I can hear it.
Nobody can see it?
We can't see it, Elizabeth, but if you share your screen, that might work.
Oh, of course. Oh, gosh. All right.
Because we could hear the audio, which is usually the hard part for me.
Okay. So
Usually there's like a little button you have to press that says like share audio and um
I think now the audio is not there.
Oh, you're muted, Elizabeth. I think it should work. Can you unmute on Zoom?
Elizabeth, you're still muted yourself. Can you unmute you and then maybe it'll work?
okay, got it. Finally. All right, now let me try it one more time. Just yell out and see if this works.
Enjoy the talents of their neighbors and create memories that last forever.
It's always great to one support
It's working.
Okay, thank you.
growing artists and just to see the variety of representations of
It's not working, actually.
Oh, it's not?
right here.
The image isn't
I
advancing.
think-
love it so much.
Oh,
It's
true.
something I look
Yeah.
forward to every year. Every September as it starts to become fall, I think like, oh, it's almost time.
It's not working?
So I really, really love it. I really, really enjoy it.
I think it's for some reason, once the audio came on, we weren't seeing the video advance.
The local community.
I don't know why that would be.
Applied anthropology.
All right, I've got to figure out now how to turn it off.
Local talent. And it's also nice to see what IUP students have to
Oh my
offer to our
God.
community as well
What a
as
disaster.
local community members.
I really enjoy all the different musical acts that we get to come through. We've seen a lot of very talented groups over the past couple of years.
Yeah,
Now I
I'd
don't know how to
say
turn it
that
off.
The music is really what I've enjoyed. Though I do
Can
enjoy
anybody help me?
food options too.
Elizabeth, the best thing is for us to copy and paste the link and watch it on our own terms. So we can-
Yeah, maybe after the
To
meeting.
turn off the video.
Do you see it? Is it open on your screen? If you
No,
alt tab, can
it
you
is
talk?
not.
I'm seeing a lot of the community there.
I
I don't know. A lot of times when there's like things going on in Indiana, I don't really see a lot of people out, but there's a bunch of people there. They're enjoying music.
If you minimize the Zoom screen, do you see the video?
It really brings people together. I've made
Um,
new friends there. You get to see all the vendors and just see the culture that comes with it.
NOF is a way for the community to come together and appreciate
Or
their
try to Command Tab and
foster
find
memories
Zoom.
for everyone.
People, friends, got up, danced at the foot of the stage. You know,
Okay,
people
Shane?
came in and it was just
Yeah.
Can you
Okay,
tell me
so-
what to do?
my
Yep.
favorite memory would be
Whatever your
a lot of
application
people
you're
and
using
just
for the
watching
browser, whether it's
dancing, even though we
Chrome
didn't really know the
or
music.
It's
Safari.
Safari. Safari.
Okay, can you go to that icon and right click on it?
Oh, thank God.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We're gonna just
Amazing.
let you see this on your own time because I'm sorry. I think we all know by now I am very technologically challenged and I apologize.
Thank you for attempting to show it.
Well,
And
anyway,
Yeah.
it's a very nice film that the students did. Does anybody have any questions for Amanda?
I do.
Sarah, go ahead.
I was just wondering, when putting the video together, did you have like the whole classwork on it? Did you talk about putting the video together at all? Or was it kind of like you are young and skilled, go off and make the video?
we did various we did talk about composition. We talked about how you film video. We practiced it in class. We got the equipment from the library and used it. And then when it came time for video editing, it was the very end of the semester and kind of was more by the seat of our pants than I would have liked it to be. I actually think we have a lot of footage and we could come up with a shorter version, maybe more 2 minutes would be something that people would actually watch, a more broader audience would watch. So we're not really done with the project quite yet, but this was our first attempt. And it actually has been really useful to, I think, elevate the footprint of anthropology on campus and in our community. We're on the map for a lot of people. They turn to anthropology, when they have questions about X, Y, or Z, or they have ideas for other projects. So it's been sort of fun to think about the project from that angle as well.
All right, we're going to move on to the next topic. Priscilla.
Hi. Yes, we are looking at encouraging people to write blogs. And I would say that everyone has a blog in him or her. And we know the creative potential is enormous from the blogs we've received. And there are a lot of ways of even getting prompts from the ACRN website. And for example, there's tools on photos, collage, video, and there's even a tool on headshots. I mean, all of these could prompt a blog, and I'm sure that many of you have experienced working around these topics. Has storytelling worked for you in your workplace? How successful has it been for you as an anthropologist? There are blogs relating to nonprofits, which often grab readers. Where are our forensic anthropologists? Where are the blogs from them? And how about early childhood education and childcare? There are people who work on that. And how have you gained virtual experience? That's another tool that's on the ACRN website. And has anyone built a personal website? How did you go about it? Did it work out? Was it a good experience, or do you feel like it didn't work out the way you wanted it to? And one of the topics that I'm personally very interested in is, has anyone been a mentor or part of a support network? And what works best to encourage folks? How do you become a motivator? How do you become a mentor? We have a lot of information from people who've been mentored, but it would be really interesting to hear from someone who's done the mentoring. And finally, I would say, does job coaching work for anthropologists? What could a job coach offer? So after our initial presentation, which to me triggered like 40,000 blogs, I would really love to know if anyone out there has a blog in them and if they'd like to contribute it, because these blogs are really outstanding and I think they provide a real service for our anthropology community. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Priscilla. And yeah, we're always looking for blog posts. You guys can do it. I'd love to hear anything that you would have to say about careers or career prep. So we'll go to the next one. Megan is back again, talking about some of the new tools that we have up on the website. Megan?
Yeah, so some exciting news. Got some new tools on the website to utilize. The first tool is on explaining anthropology to people in your life, which this is very useful. It provides helpful ways of explaining what anthropologists do and why what they do matters through giving 8 common work-related scenarios. One being the empathic listener, which explains the hearing and experiences of stories from cultures to local to global, motivates anthropologists to promote understanding of other perspectives and ways of life and work. And the perspective shifter that explains how anthropologists help organizations and communities see beyond their own cultural assumptions to discover new possibilities and solutions, invisible from within a single worldview. Next slide.
You know what, Megan, I just want to say something about this. You guys are only seeing the first page. This tool is the longest one we have, and we worried about that a bit. It's 12 pages long, but it is really good. And as an indication, I think, of how good it is, my LinkedIn post was reposted over 400 times. This thing is needed. Every anthropology student, every anthropologist should read this thing. It's your answer when you're at that backyard barbecue. Oh, you're an anthropologist? What do you do? Anyway, just my 2 cents on that. Okay, go ahead, Megan.
All right. So the first three tools on the left are based on skill development for students. There's learning how to tell stories, analyzing job descriptions, and making marketing career fairs work for anthropologists. And on the right are tools about building a career series. And these are both based on archaeology careers on becoming a state archaeologist and working in federal archaeology. These are all very useful tools. Go check them out on the website, read through them, and a special thank you to all of the authors that contributed to making them.
Thanks. And it might seem a little crazy to put out a tool on building a career in federal archaeology at this time, but actually there are still archaeologists employed in the government, so it's not completely a lost cause. Next up, I'm going to just go very quickly through the career transitions webinars, or what we've been calling colloquially the Friday webinars. So these have been ongoing since May, and we started them with the idea that maybe we could help so many of the federal workforce that had lost its jobs. However, they've been helping other people as well, people in other areas of work. So they happen every Friday from 2 to 3, and we alternate weeks. So one week we'll have a particular topic on a particular domain, and the following week we have a speed networking event. So tomorrow's will be with Tim Malafite on speed networking. They're really fun. We put people in breakout groups, just pairs of people usually, and then they have about 10 minutes, and they basically end up helping each other. And then you can see the other webinars that have been scheduled. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. All right. The next big one that's on a topic is called Finding the Patterns in Numbers. It's all qualitative, and you'll be able to attend that one as well as storytelling with numbers. And then we have this Google Doc that anyone can access, and there are a ton of career resources, job resources in it. So when this thing gets posted, you just have to click on that link and you will have access to lots of good information. Suanna.
Hello. I made it.
Okay, thank you.
I was one of the speakers on the career transition series and found it both useful as a presenter, great to stretch myself into a topic I didn't realize I had any experience in, but did. And also for everybody who is, in that transition mode. Sometimes we don't realize we're in a transition, but it's very good for those who have been let go in the recent federal actions, or for folks who are thinking, my industry is a little wobbly, I have to be ready to move and think about what I need. The Career Transition Series has been a really great value. But I think the question on the table is that something worth continuing. Jennifer and Elizabeth are really fantastic about pulling together the resources and the people, the speaker series as it is, but wondering if there's a moment to discuss some feedback on that idea of continuing.
Yeah, and we'd just like to get your feedback because we're booked through, I don't know, early to mid-August. And, it does take some work to find people who can offer a topic that is on a career transition. So it's a fairly narrow area. Um, so that's the question, should we continue? And I'd just like to get any feedback that occurs to you. Yep, Melissa?
I think you all did this at least once before, but because for many of us, the job hunt has become a many months long process, I think it is worthwhile to occasionally have just a community gathering where folks can offer support and resources and ideas and sort of a more, not necessarily have a more formal presentation, but just, I mean, one thing that I have found particularly difficult after the 6 months that I had of an outplacement service ended is it can feel very isolating. And I think that could be one option for continuing at least once a month or once every 2 months or something like that with a little community gathering. Just a thought.
Yeah. Anybody else have any ideas?
I just posted in the chat like a digital happy hour for anthropologies. Like if you drink water, just fine, but just like having some sort of contact with another human being via virtual that understands your language, understands what you're going through, because, anthropologists, we have a different way of thinking. Or just share, ideas about life that it's very helpful for everybody.
So if we did have such a happy hour, what time of day would be good? Because, we have to appeal to, fairly broad range of time zones.
Well, Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time is like accommodating for people on the West Coast.
Yeah, that's tough for folks who have families, though. I mean, I thought the time you've been using is good. Have you seen folks having a problem with Friday afternoons?
No, no, not,
Okay.
I've not heard of any.
I wonder though, like, so I have this, like, I have a family and I'm also in the workforce right now, but if I want to attend those things as someone who potentially could help connect people with jobs, it's difficult for me because it's during work hours.
Okay.
So might be something to consider.
Yeah, no, I think that is important to consider. So what would you recommend? Would you try to do a webinar, I don't know, later in the evening?
My initial thought was like 7 or 8 Eastern as well as someone Central Time, but I think that that is hard for
Yeah.
for families. So yeah, I don't know if there's like a perfect answer.
Yeah.
A survey. No.
Yeah. Well, maybe it could be alternate, one time, one event would be at a particular time, and then the next event would be at a different time, and then just see how it works out. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thank you for your input. And I think now we just need the last part of this. Updates, and there are quite a few updates, about 5 or 6 slides here, but I think some of it you will find interesting. First of all, kudos here. We've sold over 1,000 copies of this workbook, still available on Amazon. So please shout it from the mountains. Summer reading. Russ Bernard posted on LinkedIn, and I subsequently contacted him, open access to the Field Methods Journal, at least through the end of August. So if there is something related to field methods you'd like to investigate, apparently all the articles are accessible. It does assume you have an academic library because you have to put that in. I do not at the moment. And so I just went back to Russ and said, hey, I can't access it. And he just sent me the articles. So that's something. Interesting Wall Street Journal article for you on late career layoffs. Just heard today that Sapiens is going to be closing at the end of this year, which is sad, but they don't have a publishing partner. Their partner had been University of Chicago Press, and that has gone away. They've spent many, many months looking for some other group that would work with them and have come up dry. So unfortunately, Sapiens will no longer be available to us. And then Allison earlier had mentioned the American Cultural Resources Association. They did a nice, very brief report on the One Big Beautiful Bill. So if you're interested in that. And then some learning opportunities. We've had a request from Jody Boisvert, who is going to be teaching a course in spring on the anthropology of nonprofits. If any of you have suggestions for her, since she's never taught it before, it would be very helpful to contact her. And then NAMLA is an organization in the Netherlands. They're running a boot camp and a master class. And guess who's doing the master class? No, none other than Adam Gamwell. So you can sign up for both of those. They're direct links to the sign up. And then, you know, if you guys are still interested in the Career Transition series and have ideas for more content, you can contact Jennifer directly. NAPA, National Association for the Practice of Anthropology, is putting out a request for anyone who needs help putting together a workshop for the AAA meetings. They are willing to help you. Only trick here is that the deadline to submit to AAA is already August 1. So if you want NAPA to help you, now is the time to contact them. And that's what we have for you today. Any thoughts or questions? We have just a few minutes left.
Elizabeth, can you remind us all where exactly we get the slides? I found the page I put in the chat, but the last meeting on there was May.
Where you get the slides for this?
Yeah.
This meeting? Yes, you can go under either student page or the instructor page. And there is something that says like presentations and workshops or something to that effect. Click on that and then just scroll down and you'll see it.
So the last one on there was May. Is this one going to get posted later, or was there not one in June?
No, because we only meet, it's bi-monthly.
Okay, so this one will get posted later?
This one will get posted. I'll send it to Matt tonight. He usually does stuff for us on the weekend. So it'll surely be up by the weekend, but it may even be up before then. Yeah, and so on the odd month, when we don't have a meeting, we have the newsletter that goes out.
Okay, great.
Any other thoughts or questions? All right, well, thank you all for coming today, and do take a look at Amanda's video. I think you'll enjoy it. It's only 5 minutes. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Elizabeth, I did save the chat, so I'm gonna go look through.
Super. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna go through the questions and I'll send you what.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for helping.
No problem.
Yeah,
I hope your daughter it does well with her surgery.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm waiting. We're expecting a call. It's quite a long surgery, so we're expecting a call later tonight.
Okay. Well, best of luck and all the best.
Thanks
Alrighty.
a lot. Okay.
Talk to you soon. Hopefully soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.